ever since I heard about this film, I was like, man, that's a silly idea. His life can't be that interesting. And then I figured out what it actually was. Saw a couple of clips and haven't been able to wait to see it since.
You will never find true happiness, so you can truly accept who you are. Thank you.
I am personally not a big fan, as I've said before in other reviews, of every musician just getting their own biopic and telling their life story because so many of them are so similar. But I think Al Yankovic is the perfect guy to do this with. And by this, I mean create the ultimate parody that just nails it on the head, mocking all of the tropes and things that are so consistent about all of these biopics. I mean, I know every creative person is unique and has their own process, but their films don't. Their films are getting so formulaic, it is so frustrating. There are so few of them that stand out at all in any way. And this just crushes being the perfect parody of them, to the degree that his mother just turns to him in the opening 5 minutes and says, Al, I've discussed it with your father, and we think it would be better if you stopped being who you are and doing the things you love. Weird, the Al Yankovic Story is about Al, who gets caught at an illicit poker party as a child and continues to tell his story in exactly the same lunatic fashion. This is based on a Funny or Die skit from 2010, but Yankovic played the skit video at his concerts, and everyone loved it so much that they just kept asking, when are you going to make it into a full film? And you would kind of think, that's not going to actually work, though, because it's such a funny idea for like a 10-minute skit. How do you stretch that out into a full film? And you would think that it gets just super repetitive. And it does at the beginning for a little while. And then it breaks out of that and becomes all of these other things you could just never imagine it even vaguely turning into. It is just a completely accurate retelling of Al's life, like how he got it on with Madonna, refused to play with Queen live, he had refused to take on the role of James Bond, and then wrote Eat It as an original song. It's so funny. And I know that it sounds like it would get really repetitive and dull and wear out the joke after a while, but it's not a one-trick pony to begin with, and also it is kind of the middle of the film is the part where he is just coming up with new parodies of songs in increasingly ridiculous ways, and it almost gets tiring, but then it really switches it up, because then, I swear to God, his girlfriend Madonna, you know Weird Al's Yankovic, his girlfriend Madonna, yeah, she gets kidnapped by Pablo Escobar, and this film, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, I swear to God, for 10 minutes of the third act, turns into a full-on jungle action movie. And that is the perfect example of why this film works, because it really leans into the ridiculous. You think it's going to be just such a complete one-trick pony, and it's just not. It's just willing to go so far over the top that you can't even see the top anymore. The top is a dot to this film. And yet it's, even in being that ridiculous, it's just held together. Mostly by Daniel Radcliffe, just, I mean, like, I feel like this is the kind of film people are going to look up, especially like maybe when the new Harry Potter series comes out, and they're going to be like, what's Daniel Radcliffe been up to, huh? And they're going to find this sort of film that's going to help it become a cult classic, because this has not gotten the praise it deserves, honestly, so far. And it's going to become a cult classic when that happens, at some point. And they're going to find out that Daniel Radcliffe has just been busy being a naughty little freak in every film he's in for the past decade. It's the kind of thing, in like 10 years or something, there's going to be a TikTok or whatever's popular by then, whatever's legal by then, and it's going to be like, dude, have you ever seen this film? And it's just going to set off a whole wave of nostalgic love for this movie, discovering it for people who never watched it in the first place. And I'm telling you, just do it now, just watch it now, because it is not a perfect film, it is not a work of art, it is a skit that got dragged out into a full film, and normally that doesn't work. This time it does. I would put it in as one of the prime, dumb, in a positive way, films out there, like alongside something like Wet Hot American Summer, like true classics of just the way over the top stupid comedy that is beautifully crafted. It's not going to become a cult classic on the level of like Wayne's World or The Blues Brothers for like crazy comedies, but it's not that far off, is what I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. So I'm giving This Is Pretty Damn Weird 3.5 stars. I feel like the whole film is just really bizarre to watch. Like, as a whole, it's so weird, and it's not hilarious all the time, but there are so many individual moments of genuine 5-star comedy in there that you can see why they demanded it, like, the skit be turned into a full film. And it did work well enough to have earned this. Subscribe for more hard truths.